Welcome to Artist on Art in the new year 2014. I am your host, Nada Milkovich. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Great 88. And I have such a great show to start off the new year. This is like a dream come true for me. And the reason is I really wanted to speak with the great Kim Luke. Kim Luke is here. Your reputation precedes you.
That makes me very nervous. I can't imagine what that even means.
So Kim Luke has been in and out of Santa Cruz for quite a while. You had your formative years here, had a band called the Holy Sisters of the GagaDada.
That's right.
Which I'm hopefully going to find and play as much as I can. The album is here. I know it. I can feel it. Tell us about that band, Kim.
Actually, it was, I was sort of, I was the Oliver of that band, you know, from the Brady Bunch, kind of came in at the last moment.
The adopted.
Right. Like, what's she doing? My friends had a fantastic band here, and my friend Mary Jean was really her band, and she and I became really close friends. So close, in fact, that I was crashing on her living room floor, kind of living under her grand piano. And after a little while, she had it up to her eyeballs with me and said, forget it. If you're going to live in this house, you have to contribute something. You have to either move out or be in the band, which was she taught me so many things in life. I really think that. And that lesson that I learned there is that contributing to a band was actually considered contributing. So that was kind of cool. It was like, hold your own, be accountable. Yeah. You have to, do something.
And you've been doing that ever since. I mean, this was back in the 80s,
Sleeping on floors under pianos? Yeah.
No, I mean, making it as your art, as contributing to the world through your art.
Oh, thank you.
I would say.
Thank you. I do create a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's art, sometimes it's just stuff.
So the first time I had the pleasure of seeing you perform was at a Derby Girls competition. You explained, we were newbies, we didn't know what was going on. You gave us an explanation of how Derby rules work. You were the announcer, and you have recently retired from, sadly, that.
I did. I was with the Derby Girls for years and years and years since the inception here, and they're a fantastic organization. I skated poorly and talked really well, so I found my niche there as an announcer.
And you contributed in your way.
Right. Well, in all fairness, I had been talking for longer than I'd been skating, so it's only natural that I would be better at it.
There you go. And you had between the Holy Sisters of the GagaDada and coming back and being involved with the Derby Girls, you had a bit of a world travel. You went to L.A.
Right.
You were in the music business. I
did a lot. It's shocking to me how much I did and how little I have to show for it. Outwardly, inwardly, boy, I'm just chock full of memories.
Yeah,
but, no, I did. I lived in Los Angeles for quite a few years. The whole band moved down there, and I played music, did a lot of performance art, started other different weird bands, and just had a fantastic creative life there.
Yeah, and then you started a family and decided to move back, or
no? Actually, from Los Angeles, I moved in '91. I moved to Chicago, and I went to with. My goal there was to get back into theater, and my roots are really in theater. And so I went to Second City. And
how fabulous is that, Kim?
It was fabulous. It was really fun. It was wonderful.
Was it like Saturday Night Live all the time?
Well, I was going to say something really mean, both about Saturday Night Live and about Second.
Well, if people don't know, many of the comics that come to Saturday Night Live start in Second City, Chicago. If you didn't know that, that's Bill Murray, that's Dan Aykroyd,
Tina Fey.
There's so many from the beginning to today, roots of SNL to. Right. That's why I mention it. And
I need to make clear, because I signed a contract that I would make this clear, that I was at the Second City Training Center. I was not on the main stage theater of Second City. And that's a really big distinction. I had great times there. I learned a lot. Steve Carell was my teacher and director for my final show, which was pretty cool. He was he was very funny back there. Actually, a really serious guy. But anyway, I did that. And then I ended up getting back into music and played music in Chicago and had a band called Moonshine Willie, and we toured and made CDs and did that for years and years and years.
Chicago is such a rockin' town. I'm from Chicago, and Wax Trax back in the 80s, Wax Trax, the Exit, No Exit, the Metro,
the
Limelight, Medusas. There's so many great venues from there now and back in the day. Wax Trax was a huge recording influence, music influence, and ministry, all of that. Craziness. It was so much fun.
Well, we were there at a time, we were playing kind of alternative country, punk rock kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
And it was, we were right there when Bloodshot Records was getting started, and we were the first act that they signed to put out full CDs. And it was a really great crew of people, and I met some lifelong friends through that and touring the country. And then, after 11 years in Chicago, and starting a family, we moved back to Santa Cruz to be closer to my family. And I've been here now for 11 years, again, my second time through Santa Cruz. And
we're the better for
I'm finding a whole new, different ways to exist in Santa Cruz than I did before.
And so you are currently in a band called the Henrys.
Right.
And when can we see you play?
We never play. We're sort of a group of friends with a music problem. We're all.
They got these itches. You got.
Yeah, every now and then we just have to get together and play music. But we're all of a certain age, and we have lives and children and joint custody, and we don't get together as often as we can. A couple of the Henrys were played with me at the recent Stockings Cabaret. I did a couple little pieces, and one of them was a song I wrote, and Kurt Eberhardt and Jeff Kissel were there. Jeff was playing with Marty O'Reilly's band, and they're fantastic.
Yes.
So that was fun, but no, it's not something we can put all of our energy into.
Right. So one of the ways that you put in your energy now is you've been announcing for the Warriors.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
It's really fun. It's
you're the voice of the Warriors.
Well, that's because I have a microphone. There's
right. You're the loudest.
It's exactly.
But you're a great voice. You have such you're a comedian, and it's no surprise that you have training in Second City, and so the second time I had the privilege and pleasure to see you perform was with Greg Archer of Good Times, and you were announcing it was for the festival.
Was it the Fringe Festival kickoff?
The Fringe Festival kickoff, and you also write and perform, and you are the communications and marketing director for the Downtown Association for Santa Cruz.
That's my day job, and I love it.
What is the Downtown Santa? I mean, I know what it is, but I'd like our audience to know.
Well, the Downtown Association represents the businesses and merchants that are in the footprint of downtown Santa Cruz, which is defined by the city of Santa Cruz, and we promote downtown Santa Cruz, which is an easy job for me because even when I lived here in the 80s, I was a downtown kid, and I've always loved it. It's when I get in my car, it automatically points downtown. It's where I do everything. It's where I've always done everything in Santa Cruz, and I know this sounds like a commercial for downtown, but I really feel strongly about it. So I'm kind of lucky that I really love my day job.
And then you're also the organization that puts on First Friday with Chip, and there's...
First Friday is a separate organization, but we do a component of First Friday downtown. It's probably the biggest neighborhood that does First Friday.
I see.
But we put on the holiday parade. And what else do we do? We do Downtown Tuesdays. We do all kinds of holiday stuff.
How about the Dance Week?
Dance Week, Motion Pacific is the presenter of Dance Week, which is so much fun.
And is also very involved with Downtown Association.
Right. Well, they use a lot of downtown locations where I think it's called Dance in Unexpected Places.
Yes.
Or is that what it's called?
Well,
it's something like that.
Something like that.
Like, oh no, look out, someone's dancing. Is that what it's called?
Well, actually, I forgot to tell my lovely audience that next up is 3 of the current choreographers that are going to be doing their newest show at Motion Pacific.
That's like the weekend of the, 17th? 18th?
Yes. And this is Bear Outlines. It's a day group, and we're going to have 3 of the founding members and choreographers here right after our show.
You get all the cool people.
Oh, I got you. This is my cue right here. Kim, the first time I talked to you, and I said, Kim, please come on my radio show. You said, I asked you, what is your art? And you said, I have the art of lists. I make lists. And for me, the New Year's is all about lists. Top 10, best of, worst of, the review of the year. Those have passed, those that have borne, all kinds of stuff. So I asked you to do that.
You did, and it was an interesting take on it because I started, usually my lists are trying to sort out what's in my head, like all the projects I want to get to or whatever. And so I thought, oh yeah, people do wrap-up lists about the year that just passed. And I sat down and I thought, okay, 2013, what did you have to offer me? And I could not, for the life of me, remember anything that happened in 2013. I thought, well, that's odd. Let's just, look online and see what everybody else experienced. And I kind of looked through headlines, articles, things that happened in 2013, and I was sort of horrified at how horrible of a year it was for a lot of people in this world and in this country. And I thought, how did I like not focus on any of that? How did none of that really sink in for me? And then so I looked back through my personal calendar and realized that I really had my head. I was working 3 jobs for 2013, and I don't think I looked up to breathe very much, but. So, some of the big things that I overlooked or ignored in 2013, I had the fiscal cliff. I think it started with the fiscal cliff. I thought it was a great term. I love the word fiscal cliff.
Even though it's very daunting and
it's very
scary,
daunting, and apparently, and I can't tell you anything, any details about the fiscal cliff other than I would read it in headlines, and go, huh, that's cool. Next, I'm.
Didn't we go over the fiscal cliff? Are we still climbing up?
I don't know.
Fiscal cliff?
I don't know.
I think of 2008 as going over the edge. And the big recession that happened. And then we had this crazy Congress that would not pass a budget.
Right.
And then there was this like stalemate for months at a time that just made it all worse.
Right. With no accountability. I think all they really got done was finding a way for the entire country to unite in hating them.
Right. That is probably one of the best things of last year. I think the pendulum swung in a direction that I agree with.
Right. And, I know so much went on in 2013, and it just washed over me. I have to admit, and I know it sounds really irresponsible as a citizen of the world to say that, but honestly, for me, it was about, getting up in the morning and going to work and getting home 14 hours later and, maybe watching some Netflix. I tried to partake in some cultural trends, and I kind of failed at that too. I watched some Breaking Bad, and I can't even tell you how much I hated that show. So you've probably just had a bunch of people turn off the radio because I know it's hugely popular, but I hated that show.
I can see why you hated it. I loved it. I relished the evilness that was brought out in such an aesthetically beautiful way. I loved the photography. I thought that the camera. Anyways,
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, Breaking Bad was probably the biggest thing, and the fact that it's about crystal meth and the degenerate side of our society, and perhaps that's something to say about our culture right there.
Yeah.
Kim, I think a lot of people would agree with you. When I looked at Facebook posts from people, Happy New Year, a lot of thank God 2013's over. Mm-hmm. And I'd never really seen it that strongly before. This kind of like backlash, like, well, glad we're done with that. In 2014, let's move on, and maybe it'll be a little easier.
Right.
This year. We're hoping, right?
Yeah, I hope so, because the lists I'm making now are all very positive lists.
All right.
And the number one on the list is stop making lists.
But that's your art. Kim.
I know. But you know what happens? I make lists, like I make these lists. I'm a really great to-do list maker. I mean, I have subcategories of to-do lists. It's like big picture to-do lists, remodel the house, for instance. Right. Then there's the immediate, immediate list. Clean the house.
Oh, okay, that's my long term.
And then buy groceries.
Right.
buy things like that, or balance the checkbook and things. This is great. And then I have my creative lists, which are just so overwhelming. I'll finish at least one of the following plays. Record
How many you
one
got,
of
Kim?
Currently in the works, probably 6.
You're a producer. That's how it is.
I'm a starter.
And then how many songs have you started?
Well, started hundreds.
Right.
Ready to record probably a dozen.
Oh, that's great.
But in completed and finished and ready to go, I have hundreds. But so I put these things on lists, and I think that it's almost an accomplishment to me to have these on the list. It's like, I don't have to think about that anymore. It's on a list somewhere. So I never get back to it. So I'm really trying an experiment to not make lists and just sort of, some people call it living in the now. I call it flying by the seat of my pants. And what I forget, maybe I'll forget to pay PG&E, and then I'll deal with those repercussions in that now when my electricity's shut off. No, that's not true. No, I'm trying.
They're nice. They give us a little red flag before. A little
pink door handle.
Door handle. Oh, yeah.
Right. So I'm really trying to, whatever project is really interesting me right now, I'm trying to just focus on that and not make lists of other things because it becomes daunting. So number 1 on my list is stop making lists.
Shoot. So does that end your list?
I have a grocery list.
Oh, okay.
No, I have quite a long list of things I would like to do.
Okay, go on with it. Number 2.
No, they're everything. I instead of making New Year's resolutions, I've just picked 3 verbs, and I really recommend this to people.
Right on.
Because there's a lot of verbs out there that you probably do a lot, and some of them are more better for you than others. But I've picked 3. And this is going to sound really touchy-feely and positive coming from me, for anybody who knows me, but move, which I mean actually move my body, get out, maybe walk the dog. And I don't really mean move to another town.
But move.
Move things. Move. I used to skate 3 or 4 times a week, and then I stopped skating, and now I love to dance. I love to go out and dance on a dance floor, but I can't wait till 11 o'clock at night to go and get some physical activity. So I have to find ways to move. I'm very sedentary. I do a lot of work on the computer. I do a lot of writing. It's very sedentary. Create is another verb that I'm really loving right now. That could mean breakfast, or that could mean a play, or that could
life.
Yeah. And engage. I'm trying to get offline and in person.
Ooh.
Like right now, I can actually reach out and touch you.
That's right.
Which is great.
We're sharing air.
We are.
And I'm inhaling your molecules, and you're inhaling my molecules.
God, that's gross.
But that's what happens when you get in.
I know it. I expect to have to take a lot more vitamins because I'm going to engage with people face to face. I get to engage with a lot of people at basketball games, which is really fun.
Yeah, there's how many? 12,000
2,700 people.
Oh, 2,700.
Yeah, 2,700 people, and
How often are you doing that?
There's, I think, between 25 and 27 home games through April, before postseason.
And you were there at the very beginning.
Yeah.
How do you think Santa Cruz, to me, seems like it's benefited from it?
I think so, absolutely. I think it's a great community experience.
Yes, just like the Derby Girls.
Which is what drew me to it. I'm not a huge basketball fan. I wasn't. I enjoy it. No, I really do enjoy it. I was a Bulls fan when I lived in Chicago during their whole three-peat and all that. But what drew me to the Warriors is what drew me to the Derby, honestly, and that is the community experience, that shared moment that everybody has together, being in a room together. The collective unconscious that happens when you have that many people experiencing the same emotion at the same time.
Right.
I love that, and I love being part of that.
Now, with the Derby Girls, the composition of the audience was incredibly diverse.
Mm-hmm.
You had segments of the population, very, let's say, well-to-do people to just all ages, many ethnicities. Do you see the same kind of audience composition at the Warriors games?
I see a lot of diversity there as well. But different aspects of it. So yeah, there's a lot of families. I think a lot of more people come from neighboring communities to come to the Warriors games. I'd love to see that for the Derby as well, and I think that'll grow with the success of our nationally ranked team.
Yay.
But I know they're sort of awesome. But I do like that, and I really am amused that my newest group of friends, my circle of friends, is like 11-year-old boys, because they play the games with me at the Warriors games at the timeouts and all that, and they come to all the games, and that's who I get fist bumps from when I'm like shopping in Target or walking down the street on Pacific. Those are my people. And I'm really thinking that's going to serve me well, like in another 20 or 30 years when I'm like old and feeble and need help. It's like
You're gonna have a bunch of
where are my homies? Remember me?
Help me.
Come paint my fence.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yes, exactly.
Kim, Luke, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that you've given us two really great pieces of advice to take with us into 2014.
Sorry, that was an accident.
Quit making the lists and choose 3 verbs. And you chose engage, create, and move.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best for that. And I hope you can come back, especially when you have some kind of performance that you're going to be doing.
Absolutely.